some people call it D&D, but if you're hit to the scene, it's called Dund.
Man, I'm way behind the times because I've been calling it Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves the whole time.
You weirdo.
Okay, spoilers ahead for D&D HAT.
Okay. So,
a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. Go ahead.
So I do play a little bit of D&D, and the movie does not really follow any of the D&D tropes that I have to live through. But it's a good action, it's a good action flick, I think.
Yeah, good action adventure. And for context, I know literally nothing about D&D. I know the name of it and that it's a board game ?
It is not a board game, it's a tabletop game.
It's a tabletop game ?
Yep. If you want to use a board, like some people will use a paper map or a fold out cardboard map. But if you have a board for D&D, you're bringing your own board. It's literally like a rule of books you can look up online for free, or you can buy the book. And there's 5 editions of D&D out now, and there's also like spin-offs, like games that are similar but like with slightly different mechanics.
And it's like you create your own adventure type of thing.
Yes, but you can also like have someone read the adventure to you and kind of narrate it. Well, someone has to do that. You have to have a dungeon master who tells you if stuff works or doesn't work. Someone will say, "Oh, I want to jump up to the chandelier," and you'll well, your character can't jump high enough to reach the chandelier. But then you're "Oh, I can use my bonus action to increase my leap to double my leap if I spend a key point." And then you're "All right, roll acrobatics," and then if you roll a 10 or higher, then you get up there. And if you don't, then the dungeon master tells you what happens when you pratfall from trying to climb up the chandelier.
So I actually am a dungeon master, but it has nothing to do with this game.
Yeah, that's just, we're very worried about those girls.
Yeah. Most of them are there on their own free will.
I don't believe it.
The whole call to action is Chris Pine's wife dies, and he goes on an adventure to retrieve a relic to revive her. But he's set up, captured, and arrested. And who's behind it? Hugh Grant, for some reason. The whole basis is they break out of prison because they jump on the back of Johnny or whatever. So they have the council to see if they can release them. And they're waiting on the guy with wings so they can grab him and jump out the window with him.
Even though they were going to let them go.
Yeah. They do a whole classic RPG style team with this. It's just a ragtag group of people from different classes, meaning like warlock or mage and all that stuff. I think possibly was invented by D&D, but it was made famous by Final Fantasy. That was the whole stretch of I don't know if Final Fantasy was inspired by D&D.
Yeah,
D&D came out 13 years before Final
surely
Fantasy.
The class system was created by the idea of one guy using a shield, another guy using a spear, and someone's had a bow and arrow.
Oh, well, yeah. It was weird when that one army had only archers.
Decent use of CGI and real effects. They had some real effects in there, I think, which is always good to see because not everything can be a green screen. Even though half of the movies today seem to disagree with me on that.
Yeah, it was definitely a good combination of practical and CGI, and it seemed like a good chunk of the scenes and set pieces were filmed on location rather than everything's just in a studio, and the movie still cost $300 million for some reason.
I will say that in terms of quote unquote D&D, it didn't really seem very D&D-esque to me. The things that make it an engaging game to play as a group, that make it frustrating or challenging, are not in the movie. The strong orc girl is just beating the pants off of 5 guys. You have to be a pretty high level character to throw 5 attacks in the same time that 5 other people attack you. There are certain builds that can do that, but they're usually not the person that can also pick up and throw a boulder. Right. She's the physically strongest. She's physically the fastest. She's the most agile, and she's also the one that like hits the hardest. That's usually have to like pick one. And then like the guy, Chris Pine's character, the bard, he doesn't do anything. Every now and then he hits someone in the head when not ready to be hit. Usually every character is at least competent in combat, because in D&D combat can take a long time because it's turn based. So you don't want to be like super duper useless. you want to at least be able to like feel like you do something when it's your turn, even if it's like simple or not as much as the person who is just like straight up dialed in to do nothing but combat. The druid was pretty on target, like being able to cast spells and turn into like just like a badass monster. Like the owl bear is pretty rare to hit, but you expect them to be like a rare character. I've never seen anything in D&D that's like the useless sorcerer. If I played more, maybe like eventually I would intentionally play a character that's useless. But for a lot of people, myself included, board games and video games are about like either being able to strategize or like a power fantasy type thing. So he's like that guy is role playing a character I've never seen played in any game that I've been in. So to me, it was not a D&D game. So a lot of the stuff was invented by the creators of D&D, but it's been so long. It's like it's all standard adventure stuff now, I think.
So in terms of a standard adventure movie,
probably like the best movie I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, it's up there for sure.
Yeah, because you asked me like, what's the best movie you've seen this year, and I've been thinking about it. I think this is better than John Wick 4. John Wick 4 is good, but this thing is funny from beginning to end. All the characters are good. It's got a good plot. It is a really good movie. If you're not a fan of D&D, it's a good movie. If you're a fan of D&D, just go into it expecting a good movie, not a D&D movie.
So you think you're better off if you don't know D&D? Because I don't know a damn thing about it, and I enjoyed this movie. Had a great time. I can speak from a Marvel fan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a former Marvel fan. If Marvel didn't do anything inherently offensive to make me dislike a movie, and they just made it available to all, then I wouldn't dislike it as much as I do. But instead, they inherently take things and make them worse. So that doesn't sound like it happened here.
I'm trying to find like something that I don't know that would like be interesting information to a person that plays D&D, but like nothing in there was really only D&D to me, because all that stuff, everything in the movie has been repurposed to other stuff, because that's how game design and lore works. Like maybe the owl bear, I don't think I've seen that elsewhere.
So they were able to make fans of D&D happy, and they were able to make a movie that was generally appealing. So well done.
Yeah. I will take it back. There is one thing. The scene where like the bard is like where Chris Pine is like singing a song and distracting all the guards and turns out to be an illusion.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that outside of D&D. A moderately low level spell where you can, like, if you roll well, you can distract a bunch of guards and sneak in.
And at that scene, it's like, is this actually going to distract these guys? Oh, yep, it's distracting these guys. Oh, and they had a Hulk/Loki moment where the owl bear comes out and it just starts beating the piss out of her.
Yeah.
that got a pretty good laugh in the theater when I went.
I got to give it like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm close, but not quite that high. So I gave it an 8.3, which take that for what you will. But I really enjoyed this. Had no prior knowledge of this movie, and or of the franchise, and I really enjoyed it. So 47,000 plus ratings on IMDb for a 7.6 out of 10. With a production budget of $150 million, domestic box office as of recording of 76.8 million. International 83 million, and a total of $159.7 million. So it's not doing as great as I wished it would, but it still made its budget back. That's all we got. Do you have anything else before we wrap it up?
The movie, they subverted our expectations by respecting the source material.
Yeah, weird. What a concept.
Truly.
Yeah. And on that note, we'll catch you guys later.